If you watched our show last night, you know this crime spree is hitting other major cities across the country. Over the weekend, there were multiple smash and grabs, including a Nordstrom in San Francisco, included 80 looters who blocked off the store with their cars, terrorized shoppers, assaulted employees. There was also a Louis Vuitton where looters shattered windows, getting away with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. Just outside Chicago last Wednesday, more than a dozen people stole $120,000 worth of merchandise from yet another Louis Vuitton store. Suspects wearing masks and hooded sweatshirts grabbed bags and other goods before storming out. I said this last night on the show, and it feels like it needs to be said again. These are not just isolated local events. It should be relegated to local news. This is a trend in big cities where brazen criminals clearly believe they can get away with brazen crimes. Joining me now is retired LAPD Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey. Sergeant Dorsey, thank you for coming on the show. All right, so you know Los Angeles. You've worked in Los Angeles. Before this incident occurred, I was asking my guest on a show on another night what we can do about this. What do you make of this effort to put up the coiling, and what else can be done from a policing perspective?
Well, you know, there's only so much you can do because everyone is being reactive as opposed to, well, they're kind of being proactive with these coils. But, I mean, you don't know where they're going to hit. You don't know when they're going to hit. And, of course, I think the Los Angeles Police Department is the best in the world. And they didn't have the temerity to go into one of our stores during business hours. They waited, like the cowards that they are, until the business was closed. And then they smashed the window and grabbed everything that they could from there. So business owners are going to have to rethink how they secure their merchandise within their store. Start tying stuff down. Listen, I know as a female who spends a lot of time doing retail therapy, I like to pick it up and see how it looks on me, in my hand, on my feet, and all of that. But you're going to have to think different because we're in a different time now.
You know, what frightens me about this is these are orchestrated events, but not just with like a handful of people. I mean, some of them, this one involved 20 people. The one in San Francisco involved 80 people. I mean, are these criminals just presuming that if we go in with enough people, we just won't get caught?
I think so. They're opportunists, and maybe it's the law of averages. Maybe they've already designated a couple of people who are willing to go to jail if they get caught. It makes no sense to me, but they certainly should make an absolute example out of those that they do catch. And we understand that there are cameras all over major cities now, and I'm sure some of these folks will have a visitor probably very soon because license plates are going to get picked up. And so we need to start making an example of them to deter this bad behavior.
Well, let me ask you about that. I mean, you mentioned that the license plates getting picked up. Are they going to be able to catch these people? I mean, some of these people are literally using their cars to help block in the area. And as you point out, if there are cameras around, security cameras, et cetera, they should be able to get license plates. You think that they're going to be able to catch many more of the people involved?
Well, I think the onus is on the business owners to make sure that they harden their targets and that they do a better job of enhancing their security. Listen, they're going to spend money one way or another. You either spend it on security or you're going to spend it in lost profits because of merchandise that's being stolen. I don't understand how 25 cars could gather, assemble, block traffic, and no one noticed that and think it's odd. Well, now that we're talking about it publicly, folks, if you see something, say something.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, when we decided to do this story, one of the things I kept asking my producers is, wait a second, the cars literally created a sort of barrier around the store so they could go in? I mean, I've never even heard of something like that. And again, this is starting to feel like the new norm, which is the really scary part about it, right? I mean, we hear about incidents of looting typically in the wake of, you know, some sort of riots or whatever the case may be. But now this is starting to feel more like the norm, which is just so frightening.
Well, you know, I've heard from some friends in Northern California that one of the things that they're deploying up there is that they're creating a distraction, if you will. Cars are doing donuts in the middle of a street, a block or two away, and police respond to that, not knowing that at a nearby mall, foolishness is occurring. And so police are just going to have to get smarter. These kids are having a good time. And like I said, it's fun until it's not.
Well, I hope that they figure out a way to make sure it's not. Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, thank you. Please stick around. I want you to weigh in on some intense body cam footage later in the show. Also coming up.